Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the RPT Town Hall. We're going to be doing things a little differently this year. We're going to be focusing on new functionality and some of the more advanced functionality that we put in that we want to encourage folks to be able to make use of. Dave is going to be leading the presentation. And with that, let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Dan Green. I'm the Director of IT and Operations for Electrical and Computer Engineering and the Woltech IT group on campus, which runs the RPT online system. And with me here today is David Sterling. David. You'll need to unmute. There you
Hello.
go.
Yes, sorry. These buttons keep disappearing. Okay, I'm going to switch over here to the screen. And let's see. Okay, so hello and welcome. I'm David Sterling. I help build and support RPT Online. This presentation is geared towards the department level admins, department heads, and department liaisons, or staff who deal specifically with the RPT process. This meeting is recorded and will be made available within the next week for all those who are not able to attend right now. So we'll send that out in an email as well once we have that up. Today, as Dan
I should also
mentioned
real quickly, if folks have questions as we go along, if you put that into the question and answer, we'll make sure that those are addressed.
As Dad mentioned, we're going over two key features of the RPT process today. External evaluations and online voting for the DVF are the two features that we're going to cover really. If you haven't used these before, feel free to reach out to us at any time during this presentation or afterwards, and we can figure out how we can accommodate your department process or address any concerns that you might have with using either of these features. They can save a lot of time and headache, but as we've looked, a majority of you guys of the departments are not using them. I don't want to say you guys because I don't know who actually is here, but a majority of departments are not using these features to the full extent. So I kind of want to just go over that with y'all and share some tips. But before that, I'll just quickly go over some useful things, some help resources managing permissions, and some features of the RPT dossier, including how to upload documents. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here and log in as my fake department head role here. You'll probably be familiar with the dashboard here. I'll just point out there are two ways from this page to get in contact with us. Probably the easiest way is at the bottom here. Email help@rptonline@ncsu.edu. While you can email that directly, we kind of prefer if you would click this because it sends us a bit more information, specifically what process you're dealing with, and also lets us know which unit you're emailing from. So it's a little bit more helpful if you email from within here, but you can as well email that address. And also from the help menu, if you click help contacts, it's the same form here. The only difference is that we've added some additional contacts on the side here, and that's just a list of the department admins and college admins for your units. Okay, so, and then lastly, I just wanted to show you guys the videos and town hall recordings page. This is where this video will go after it's done. This is last year's video right here. You can view it at any time. It goes more in depth onto the SFR process and post-tenure process, as well as annual reviews. So if you are wanting to learn about that or revisit that, that's also available and you can view that. Lastly, there are handbooks or guides on a lot of these processes, and you'll find them here or in the help menu. And these are just PDFs that take you over a little step-by-step. The review process is at the bottom here, but at the top is a lot to do with setup, adding and removing faculty and admins, which is what I will go over here shortly. So let's go ahead and get started into the admins managing permissions. You probably won't have to do this too often, but if you do have any staff, administrative staff that is coming or going, you will manage their permissions. You can start by typing in their name or Unity ID. I'm not sure if this will let me actually add anybody on this test, but Smith. There's a lot of Smiths. These are all just fake names, but you can add them. And then once they're added, you can visit this page to control specifically which sections of the site you want them to access. So if you don't want them to have access to RPT, just post tenure SFR, then you can remove that role and they won't have access to it. Another feature of this page is adding administrative appointments. So if you have associate heads or assistant heads, you might want to track this in here, and that will list that on their faculty profile as well. So, and if you did want to just remove the admin altogether, it's this button here at the bottom, and their access is removed from the site after that. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to go back to admins. No one's there. Adding or removing admins is important, and it's not something that happens automatically. So you'll want to keep track of who you have on this page. By default, they're given access to everything in the system, so it's important to keep track of who's in there. As far as managing permissions for faculty goes, the faculty list you can see here. For the most part, the only thing that you do in this page is add or remove them. You're not really updating ranks here, as we do that automatically. But you should be able to add different faculty, and it should select what the system thinks is their role. You can change it if you need to. And of course, if they are a rank that is professor or associate professor, they're automatically added to the DVF. Also, if they are of any other rank, they're added to their professional DVF as well. But I'll just go ahead and do this for now. And this is the page that you're taken to. You might be familiar with this, the faculty profile. All the different things about them are on here. The reviews and documents will show up here once they have those. But the main one, if you need to remove the faculty, is the remove and archive, and that'll take them out of your faculty list again. So those are the basic permission levels. You just want to make sure that you have your faculty added and there's no glaring inconsistencies in this list here. If there is something wrong with the appointment data that we have, we do tend to highlight that in this column. So if you see any type of notification like not present in HR or some type of error here, then contact us and we can get that resolved. So once you have your faculty list set up and everything, the DVF should be automatically generated based off of the faculty rank. So there's no, in the past you had to kind of keep updating those lists. You don't have to do that anymore. So that is a benefit of that. And so we can just show you quickly what that page looks like, departmental voting faculty. And a quick feature of most pages on the site is these collapse all, expand all, and back to top. So on a page like this where you have a lot of sections, you could expand those all just to see what these lists look like, or collapse them all if you're trying to figure out what is all on this page. So that kind of covers your managing permissions. Next thing I want to kind of cover is just some basic dossier features of RPT. Some things that you'll find useful. I mentioned these expand and collapse. Those are are pretty useful. And if you're looking at a review, for instance, like this one here, doesn't look like there's a whole lot, and then you can expand and there is a lot more going on here. But it's easy if you need to navigate this page. You can choose to expand or collapse them as you need, or scroll back to the top. The second thing I kind of wanted to cover with related to the dossier features is document handling, specifically uploading documents and titling them, marking them non-applicable. So for instance, here in the introduction section, you might want to upload a candidate statement. And all these buttons are the same across all sections. So you click the button to upload, select the file that you want, open it up, and then you'll see the option to add a heading, view it, replace the document, or delete it. If you view it right now, you'll see it has no heading. If I click the add heading button, I view it again, there you see the heading is added. Most sections have these, so it's something useful if you needed to replace it. Let's say you wanted to replace it with that. Now it's a different document. The heading is removed.
David?
Yes?
I will quickly note that when you're clicking on the modal pop-ups for the viewing and the replacing, that's not appearing to show on the video.
Okay. I think that must be because it's part of the system and not the window that I'm sharing. Okay, good to know. Nothing I can really fix at this moment, but if you click this, it will open your file browser to select a file to upload. Okay, and so lastly, the last kind of feature that I wanted to do, which is new, is the PDF outline. And so if you're looking at the main dossier PDF, you'll notice in Chrome and some browsers, Firefox might have this as well. There is a section here to look at the images or to look at the outline. And so now we have this kind of tree structure where you're able to select the different sections of the dossier, and it should jump to each page as you go through. So this is kind of a good feature if you're needing to jump back and forth between different sections of the dossier. Maybe you don't want to drill down to just the specific document, because you can do it from this page as well and just click view. But if you just want it to be in the PDF itself, maybe you're on an iPad or something, this might be a better option for you. Okay, so those are kind of the dossier features I just wanted to go over quickly. Again, if you want a more in-depth view on how that works, there is more about that in the handbook, last year's town hall meeting video. But now I will move along to one of the main features that I want to talk about, which is the external evaluations. So let me go ahead and navigate back to our reviews page here. Okay. And just at the top here, this disclaimer, and this applies to the external evaluations. The dossier is considered to be in the control of the candidate until the candidate's portion is completed and the faculty members' attestation by signatures on the dossier cover form. So this means you really shouldn't be sharing any portion of this dossier with anyone, including the external evaluators, until you have the candidate's express permission, which can be in the form of the signature, or if they let you know, yes, you can share these documents, then you can. But that's just part of the reg and something that you should know if you are sharing documents with external evaluators from the system. So are you sending these materials online, or are you sending them in the post? If you're sending them in the post, you'll still need to enter in the evaluators in this section 7 down here. And to do that, you will click Add External Evaluator and fill out their information in this box here for all of the required tabs. Let's see. The biography and the letter are not required. And then if you did want to send materials online, then you have to fill out these 2 other sections. But for right now, we'll just hit save.
David, to clarify, the bio is not required at this point in time. They will
Correct.
still eventually have to fill that in.
Correct. So this is just kind of like a placeholder for now. If you wanted to get your list of all of your, even your just potential external evaluators, you can put them in here. They're not going to show up as part of the dossier until both the bio and the letter are present. And so if you needed to go back and edit that, you can click the edit button here. Maybe fill out their bio. Okay, so that's essentially what everyone has to do. Now, if you wanted to start sending these online, which only a very few select of you are, there are a couple of ways for you to share these documents with the external evaluators. So I'll go over 3 different ways that you can share documents from within the dossier here. The first way that you can do it is via the reference documents and links section at the top here. You can upload a document or supply a link to somewhere. Right now, I'll just create a link. And then at the bottom here where it says external evaluators, you'll need to click that in order to share it with the external. If you click save reference, now you'll see that reference link is visible to all of these parties. So you can do the same thing with documents. And so that's one way that you can share these documents with external evaluators. Another way is from within the dossier itself, and you'll notice if there is perhaps a document in there, you'll see these share external check boxes underneath. So you can check this. Are you sure you want to? Okay. And so as you're doing that, you can share several parts of the dossier, and all that will show up eventually in this list of materials sent to evaluators button. But I'm going to refresh the page just to make sure that it's in there. Okay. Yeah. So here you'll see these are the lists of things that we've already started sharing. Here, this is required for 7B to describe materials you sent. So maybe SFR, CV, link. If you wanted to upload just a single document or multiple documents, you can do it from right in here as well, and not do it from the reference section or select something from the dossier. So you can also do it right here. The benefit of doing it right here is if you had, let's say, a document that you had a specific order to, or maybe you wanted to include a table of contents, or it's just a large document and it needed a specific order, then you might want to choose to do it this way or put it as a reference document specific to the external evaluators. But right now I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So this went green because we fulfilled that requirement. And let's see. Edit here. Okay. And so now if I wanted to send these materials, I need to provide an email address. And I need to provide a date by which I need the response returned by. So once those 2 things are fulfilled and you hit save, you'll notice that some of these buttons become active. So the preview button is going to show you exactly what email is getting sent to the evaluator. And this is the text that's sent. It's from the new template letter. It's quite extensive. And it also includes a link directly to the materials page, which you can either access by clicking the materials here or from right here. And that will show you what the external evaluator sees when they get their email. So they're going to get the email with that link and they're going to click this and they're taken to this page, which is specific to them. It'll give the candidate, it'll say welcome to them. And they can choose to update their bio. And they can choose to upload their letter from here. Okay. So once that is done, you should start to see stuff filling in here. The bio and the letter are now both here. And as a result, the sections B and C are now generated because you have someone who is complete, an evaluator who's complete. So I'm going to go ahead and also import the letter into section A here so that we can see the complete section. Add the heading. And let's see, let's look at the dossier here. External evaluations. Oh, I'm not sure why the heading is not on A, but there should be one there. And then section B, there is not the evaluator, so that's promising. Not sure why the dossier didn't regenerate. There's that. Sorry about these bugs.
This is the part where I'll point out that this is the production system. This is the test development system. So that does normally work.
It should normally work, yes.
David, I will ask one question.
Yep.
After you've sent out the emails to the external evaluators, if someone goes back in and adds additional documents for them to be able to see, will they then start seeing them on their documents page? Or is it frozen at the time of the email being sent?
No, you can continue to add documents to the materials as you go. I don't know that I would recommend that because then you wouldn't maybe be certain did they get all the updates. But if for some reason you missed out a document and you needed to include that or you needed to add a new link, yeah, it'll be added right away and there's no locked state for them as far as that goes. But barring this add heading, I'm not sure. I need to double check on why that's not, if that's doing that on the live side as well, but you should be done here at that point. You have your completed bio, you have your annotated list of evaluators, and you have the letters here that will all be attached together. So that's basically the external evaluators feature if you wanted to send these materials to them online. I think we probably have about a handful of departments, maybe less, I would say less than 10 that are actually doing this, but
I will say for any departmental liaisons who are having to juggle, has the evaluator given us their bio, or have you uploaded that, or have you put in their reference? Just let them do it. Save yourself some time and headache.
Yeah, it definitely will help you keep track of what's going on here, especially if you have a long list of potential evaluators. I don't know if there's any questions at this point, but if there's not, I'm going to quickly move on to the DVF and online voting feature, and then we can wrap things up here. Let's see. Okay. So as I mentioned before, we want to make sure the DVF list is up to date. And we do that by making sure that the faculty list is up to date. So any faculty that is new, make sure they're added, and any faculty that have left, make sure that they are removed. If you're uncertain how to do that, just send in the help request, and we can remind you about how to do that. So next step would be to make sure everyone that is on the list is actually eligible to vote, and that would really depend on your college and department level rules. Sometimes they are only allowed to vote in the DVF and not the college committee. So, and vice versa. If that's the case, you can, there's a couple ways for you to toggle the eligibility for individual members. And by doing that, you click the eligible button next to their name. This window pops up, and then their overall eligibility status, you can change to ineligible if they're not going to be able to vote on any of the cases for the DVF, or limited if they can vote on some but not the others. And this is done by group basis. So this is just for the full DVF cases. So we could say maybe in this case, and this also is used for if you need to add any recusals at the beginning. So this should be done now over here. So maybe you need to recuse this member and hit save. Okay, there it goes. So now you'll see they're labeled as limited. And when you look at the number of votes, doubled. Okay, weird. So the one member is now recused, and so you could, if you wanted to, do the normal votes as you would enter them. So we could say 4-4 or 2-4, and then if you're missing some, those will be automatically put in the missing category. So make sure that you are accounting for all your votes, unless there are, of course, some missing. But let's go ahead and save it like that for now, just to give you an idea of how this looks. So right now, this is the recorded votes, and you can come back in here and edit that as you need be, but it will show you that 4 people have voted on this case and it's voted. And that's just the regular way that most of you probably enter in the votes. But let's go ahead and go over the online voting. I'll go ahead and try it on this one. We'll go ahead and click this, even though this is a demonstration. Well, right now it says they do not have access, but after the candidate signs, they do have access. Record the votes here. And again, these on this page, I just want to point this out. This is an indicator of whether or not the DVF has access to view the dossier. So even though we entered the votes on this one, the DVF never was able to view the dossier because the cover form wasn't signed. Okay, so in this case, let's say we want to do the online voting, and you can choose to send an email to the eligible DVF or not. I'll go ahead and send this just to give you guys an idea of how it looks. So start voting now and send email. And now you'll see that some of these have changed to that they're waiting on pending votes. This one says there's 5 missing. The voting is in progress. You can click here to see the status of that. So right now, 5 of 5 missing. No one has voted. You could end it with 5 missing. You could reset it. Let me just show you quickly what that email looked like. So test instructions that we sent at the top here and the bottom here is always going to be the same. But this is the message that's sent out whenever you hit that button. So let's see, 5 missing. We could go ahead and I can show you what it looks like as a professor. When they log in, they see this on their dashboard, the voting button. And this link right here, RPT/voting, that will take them to this page as well. So if you wanted to send your own email, rptonline.ncsu.edu/rpt/voting, take them to this page. And so they're able here to choose one of the 3 options. We'll say 4, they click to confirm. And once they've done that, they can't change their vote. It's submitted. And no one actually knows how they voted. It's tallied in the system. So if we go back into the department head view, go to the DVF page, now you'll see they have voted. There's 4 missing votes. You can click in here and see when they voted. But then also these people are still missing. You can click here on the voted button and also see that same information. And okay, so if you wanted to just end the voting, you would have 4 missing votes. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we can see it on the cover form. Only 1 has voted, 4 missing. And if you go to the .ca PDF, did not regenerate. I'm sorry, this is a bug in the test for sure, but the votes, oh wait, no, voting is not closed here. It is closed. Oh, did I hit that? I'm sorry, this page should be showing the vote tallies on here, but it's not at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not showing on that page. I'll do it now. That's something I need to look into, but this is a result of the test, not the live.
Yeah, we have been using this live already for a number of departments. So this is just the development environment being a pain. David, we did have one question. When you are dealing with recusals and absences, you have to at some point provide an explanation for that. And there's a question about whether or not any of these reasons have been, is there a way to enter those reasons somewhere or sort of mark them as standard reasons, as like someone's on leave?
Currently, there's no tracking of the reasoning behind recusals. I don't know if that's something that needs to be tracked in this system, or that's just something that the department heads are supposed to keep track of, but we don't have any way of indicating that. The only other type of eligibility indicator you can use, or ineligibility indicator you can use, is if they're related. That will make them ineligible, not recused. Limited. Yeah, you can indicate they're related, but there's no reasoning behind it, and they're also still able to view the document. They're just not able to do anything about it, versus the related, they're not able to see it. Well, barring those minor bugs, I think I'm mostly done here.
David, I will say
any
one thing.
questions? Yeah.
Amy did just let us know that eligible voters who recuse themselves must let the department head know of the recusal, but they're not required to give a reason for that recusal.
Okay.
So just something to note.
So there you go.
We did have one question about the earlier portion of the presentation regarding the access, setting up the access and the permissions at the department level. Do college liaisons have the ability to make changes at the departmental level?
Yes, they do. Let's see. I think I can show this quick. So the settings for the college is a little bit more hidden. But if you go into the admins, there's a list of your departments in here. And then back to your, so you can manage all of your departments from the college level for most things. And if you can't, please let us know, because that is a goal to be able to administer that from the college level.
That catches us up on any of the questions we had. We do still have time if there are any other questions. But unless anyone is furiously typing right now. Here we go. If we use the system for external evaluators, so we've sent them the email, is there a way to remind them or perhaps resend that email?
There is, you can resend the email as is. I don't know that would be helpful. There's not a reminder email at the moment. That is on our list of features to add. I should expect it to be ready by next year, but it's all a matter of timing. So, but yeah, that has been requested to be able to remind. And I'm guessing for the most part, if you're reminding, you're wanting to do that manually, but there could also be the option, I guess, to schedule it based on the deadline approaching, to remind them, 2 weeks out before they need to submit their letter.
And another question we have is for IRCs, and I'm blanking on what that stands for. That's the Interdepartmental Hires, I believe. Committee. Do we need to give the chair of the IRC access to manage and record votes?
That's really up to you. I would say probably not, just because you're giving them access to a lot more than just their ability to manage and record the votes. So they would have to be added as an admin. So then they pretty much have access to all your other cases. There isn't really a committee chair role at the moment, although which would just deal specifically with the voting portion, but that is something that I'm also working on getting added in, something that would be specific to just that role of managing voting and the groups.
But they can give that chair access to that particular candidate, so they can see all the vote, they can see all the documents, they can be one of the voters, etc.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, they're just not the ones that are able to access the DVF page specifically.
Okay. Well, I'm not seeing any additional questions. Once again, if you have any issues, concerns, please make use of the in-application links rather than trying to directly email myself or David. This makes life a lot simpler for us to keep track of who's contacting us, and we do get quite a few requests for assistance. And while we attempt to address all of them as quickly as we can, David is also full-time developing the application to add in a lot of new features as well. So please do keep that in mind and bear with us. And with that, I'll remind everyone that this video is being recorded and will be made available shortly on the website. And thank you for using RPT Online.